We're going to cover briefly about molecular compounds. Now, before I go on, because we went over ionic compounds first, let's do a quick review and compare the ionic compounds with molecular compounds. In chemistry, there are two chemical bonds. One is an ionic bond and the other one is covalent bond, which we'll discuss in a moment. Now, the chemical bond is the force that holds them together. For an ionic bond, it's the negative and the positive charge that holds together. And then when that negative and the positive come together and holds them together, the entire molecule right here, the entire molecule is considered to be an ionic compound. So let's go review again by looking at this image below. So we have sodium and chlorine, and sodium is neutral here, and then chlorine is neutral there. Something happens, and then now we have sodium positive. Chlorine, negative. There's a transfer of electrons from sodium to chlorine that causes a positively charged and a negatively charged ions to form. Now, with these two opposite charged ions will come closer intact together because they're attracted via the ionic bond. They form what is called the ionic compound. So this whole complex is ionic compound. The interaction between the two is called the ionic compound. The other type of chemical bond that I like to address is the covalent bond and the molecular compound that is associated with the covalent bond. You see this image on the right. This is chlorine gas. It's chlorine here, and this is another chlorine, and their interaction together is not because one's positive and one's negatively charged, but there is a different interaction, and that interaction is going to fall under covalent bonding. Now, let's go ahead and introduce some vocab here. So we know that chemical bonds are some kind of force that puts atoms together into a compound. Now, that covalent bond that I was talking about is a linkage between a nonmetal and another nonmetal, okay? And there is some kind of bonding occurring because of the sharing of electrons. Here's what I mean. So I have chlorine, which is a nonmetal, and hydrogen nonmetal. These are both neutrally charged hydrogen and neutrally charged chlorine. No negative, no positive. Now here's my electron here on the hydrogen, and the chlorine, we got all of these electrons here. As they come closer together, what happens is there is a bond that forms in between hydrogen and chlorine, and that happens right here. So what is happening? The electron from hydrogen not only spends its time on itself, but also on the chlorine. So it goes onto them and on the chlorine, onto them and the chlorine. From the chlorine side, they also donate an electron to hydrogen, but not completely. They also get to keep it themselves, but there's time to time where that electron goes to the hydrogen. So you can say there is a constant interaction by sharing of these electrons that belongs to the hydrogen and belongs to the chlorine that creates a covalent bond. So we can say right here, this is where the covalent bond is occurring. The interaction causes this compound to form. Individually, there are atoms. So this is an atom. Here's another atom, and together by sharing electrons via covalent bonding, now we form what is called the molecular compound. Molecular compound is made up of a nonmetal and another nonmetal via covalent bonding. So now let's do a learning check. Predict whether the following compounds are ionic or molecular. Then I'll do the first two and you do the last two. Here is Ki. Potassium iodide is a compound used in source of iodine in table salt. So we have our potassium here, and that potassium is, first you're going to identify whether it's a metal or a non-metal. So this is a metal, and iodine is a non-metal. Just to illustrate where it is, here is my potassium over here, okay, on number 19, and then chlorine is on number 17 of the periodic table. Okay, so because we have a metal and a non-metal combined together in a compound, this is considered to be an ionic compound. Next one, H2O2. So here's my hydrogen, H, and oxygen here. They both fall under non-metals. So then we have, instead of ionic, we have molecular compound. So just kind of seeing whether it's a non-metal, non-metal, or metal, non-metal, we can determine which compound it is. So try the rest and come back, check the key. And here's the key. Although it looks more complex because there's more atoms involved, it doesn't mean that any different. So as long as it has a metal present, okay, and the rest are non-metal, it's going to fall under ionic compound.